Bill, and this is Rayon. We're both engineers for Lockheed Martin in Palmdale. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about engineering here for about 15-20 minutes, and then you guys are going to be the engineers. You're going to get to actually design something and test it, and you're going to work and improve it.
High Desert School Engineering Day with Bill Schneider from Lockheed Martin Engineer showing the kids some engineering stuff.
University of Texas at Austin, my undergraduate bachelor's degree in engineering, and then I went to Georgia Tech in Atlanta to get my master's degree, and I moved out here to work for Lockheed. Rayon went to the University of Central Florida, and he has a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering. Okay, so we'll talk a little about the differences, different types of engineering, show you some cool stuff. Let's start with a video about Lockheed Martin and what our company does. We mostly work on high-tech military airplanes. We work on a lot of classified projects as well. So the first one you're going to see is the F-16. It's an airplane that's been around for a long time, multi-role fighter. The F-117 is a stealth fighter, invisible to radar. The F-22 Raptor is a air dominance fighter that we produce. Show some of the flying together. The F-35 is one of our newest airplanes. There's 3 variants of it for the Air Force, Marines, and Navy. The C-130 is a moderate-sized cargo airplane that we make. All types of good utility there. And then the C-5 is one of the largest airplanes in the world. It's a huge cargo airplane. You can carry tanks and all types of stuff. That's the P-3, which is a submarine hunter. It tries to find the submarines trying to creep up on our coast. The U-2 is a high-altitude spy plane. Been around for a long time. And then we work on what's called advanced development projects. Small airplanes, big things, things that go in the air, things that go underwater. We work on all types of cool new stuff that you might see kind of like in spy movies and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we do ourselves. But we're going to tell you a little bit about all different types of engineering. And then, like I said, you guys are going to be the engineers today. So again, a little bit more about our company. Where we work is nicknamed the Skunk Works. We work on a lot of classified, high-tech military aircraft. Like I said, a lot of classified things. These are things I can show you pictures of. The F-117 stealth fighter in the top left. The F-35 joint strike fighter in the right. The bottom left is a large unmanned vehicle. That vehicle is 90 feet long. You can go really high and cruise for long periods of time. And then the bottom right is an airplane called Quest. And this airplane we're building for NASA, what we're trying to do is, airplanes that go faster than the speed of sound, that create a sonic boom. Who's heard of sonic boom? Anybody? You've heard sonic boom, okay. So we're trying to make this airplane to shape the sonic boom so it's not as loud. And so you'd be allowed to fly across the United States in a supersonic airplane. Right now you can't do that. It's prohibited to fly commercially across the United States. So that's a project for NASA. Just an idea of some stuff that we work on. So talk a little bit about scientists versus engineers. You're in a science class right now, right? So you're learning about different scientific principles, different things. I'm not exactly sure what you're doing right now, but those science things, scientists discover different things. Engineers use those tools of math and science to build or design new things, right? We create things that don't exist, but we use math and science tools to do that. So Theodore von Karman, who was a famous aerospace engineer, he said, scientists discover the world that exists, whereas engineers create the world that never was. So we're actually very creative people, but we use science and math. Those are our tools to create new things. Okay? That's the tie-in kind of to the science class you're taking. So there's all different types of engineering. We're not going to go through all of them. We're going to talk about a couple of them. But if you meet an engineer, something you might want to ask is, well, what type of engineer are you? And they say, oh, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm like, I'm mechanical. He's an aerospace engineer. We do related things, but we do different things working on the same project. Okay? So let's walk through a couple of these. We'll show you some fun pictures. I'm a mechanical engineer, so we work on things like designing roller coasters, designing snowboards, cars, rock climbing equipment, robots, anything that has hardware to do with it, a mechanical engineer was somehow involved in doing that. Okay?
And as Bill mentioned, as an aerospace engineer, pretty much we deal with anything that flies or is supposed to fly. So if you think of drones, spaceships, you might know NASA, SpaceX, heard of it, Elephant, cool. And an airplane is, as you know. So that's all the kind of things that makes up aerospace engineering.
All right, electrical engineers, they work on anything that has circuits or electricity involved. That could be a camera, digital cameras, electric cars, obviously a pretty hot thing. Smartphones, how do you put all that electronics?
If you guys have ever been in an earthquake before, you guys came out on top top of nice and safe, you can thank a civil engineer. A civil engineer's job is to make sure that any sort of cool architecture design that the architect puts together doesn't break apart and doesn't crumble.
It's the tallest building.
It's the tallest building in the world. Is it twice as tall or 3 times as tall as the tallest building in LA? How big? It's about 3 times. Let's show you a picture of the tallest building in LA. Right there. That's how tall the LA buildings are. Look how big that is. That's in Dubai, on the other side of the world in the United Arab Emirates. It was quite the feat for civil engineers to design and build a building that tall. How you do that is safe, for example. So, all right, next.
So next you have computer engineering. Any PlayStation owners, Xbox owners? Or no? Now all of them encompasses software. So anything software based, you can think of computer engineering. So TikTok, anybody any TikTokers here? You guys use TikTok? So all the people that develop these software, these video games, these applications, was all a combination of computer engineering and computer science.
Okay, so if you like any of that stuff you saw out there, you think that's kind of cool, as you get into high school, you're going to want to think about what would it take to become an engineer. So most engineers tend to have a pretty good grade point average. You tend to be some of the top students in science and math, but you're also creative, right? Engineering is creating things that didn't exist before, right? So it's good and bonus to have advanced math classes, science classes when you get into high school. Those things will help you as you get into college. So like I mentioned before, when we talk about a college degree, it's called a bachelor's degree, and that's typically 4 or 5 years to get that degree, and then you could go and work for an engineering company, for example, or other types of engineering. If you go on, you get a master's degree, you do a couple more years, and then if you want to become a doctor of engineering, a doctor of philosophy, PhD, that's about another 4 years. So it might take 10 years to become a doctor of engineering, okay? So anyway, that's a little bit about engineering education going forward. But what's important, we're not here to try to convince everyone to be engineers. We're just kind of showing you what we do, what we like to do, the type of stuff we work on. But what's important is that you do start to think about where you guys want to go with your life, right? What you don't want to do is be like a plastic bag blowing in the wind, and you end up in some corner 20 years from now, and you're like, how did I get here? Well, the answer will be because you didn't ask questions, and you didn't think about, what do I want to do with my life? Do I like this? Do I not like this? So those are all important things in junior high to start thinking about. You don't have to have it figured out now, trust me. I didn't have it figured out. Rayon didn't figure it out in 7th, 8th grade. But talk to people. Like say you want to be a hip-hop record producer. How are you going to do that? Well, try to find someone who does record producing and ask them questions. Email them. Figure out how you get to do that, because there's steps to take to get there. If you want to start a hair salon, right? Talk to someone who owns an hair salon next time you get your hair cut. How did you start this? How did you get into this? How do you even start a hair salon business, right? Just ask questions, just in general. That's how you learn about what people do and how they got to do that thing. So, don't just drift. Reach for your dreams. You know, you guys can do anything you want right now, but you have to make some steps towards doing that, because it won't just happen by itself. You're welcome. That was my inspirational speech. So we're going to change gears a little bit. This has to do with the activity you guys are going to see. We're going to talk about dynamic responsive structures. These 2 videos will show you a couple things related to what you're going to do. The left side is going to show you a bridge called the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. And the wind was only blowing 10 miles an hour. And the bridge started oscillating, and it got so bad that it ripped the whole bridge apart. This happened back in the 1940s. And the engineers are like, whoa, how did that happen? We thought we designed this to survive much stronger winds than that. It was a topic called flutter or aeroelasticity. Okay, so really bad things can happen. If you look at the right, that's a big building being shaken down at the University of California in San Diego. And they were testing to see if a new way to reinforce wooden structures, like in San Francisco, if it would survive a certain type of earthquake. So that shaker is a floor about the size of this building, and the whole floor shakes. And they can build stuff on it, they can test it, see if it works before you really do it for real life, right? So I'm going to show you some stuff, and you guys are going to have your own shaker over here. This shaker. So you're going to have to design something to handle 10 seconds of this earthquake with a live egg at the top that might be one of your grandparents, grandmother, to survive without cracking. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. So first I'm going to show you something over here that's called a Rubens flame tube, and it has to do with acoustic resonance, okay? So So I have a propane tank down here, feeding propane gas into this side of the tube, a bunch of holes on the top, and then I have a speaker on this side that I can control the sound inside the tube, and I'm going to resonate that air, that gas, and we can control the shape of the flame. Okay? And the winner of the design challenge, that team, will get to play a song through this flame tube. Okay? So you want to win the challenge. Okay. Here we go. Let's light this up. Put some gas in here. And I'll show you a little bit about the tube. Still lighting up. Your eyebrows. Give it a second to fill up. Okay, so I'm going to bring the flame down to just a nice low level. And then what you'll see is, like you see in this animation, where there's areas of high pressure or low pressure, the flame height will change. Okay? So let me start by just playing a single tone through the speaker at the end, and we should be able to resonate this into different patterns. Okay? Get the volume dialed in here. Okay. So now let me take two sine waves. I'm going to make one sweep up and one sweep down. And when they cross over, you'll kind of see some weird stuff kind of going on. So now it's a little more complicated, right? Oh wait, I forgot to show you R2-D2 mode. Sorry, BB-8 mode for you guys. So this is what that sounds like. Sine tones sweep at the same time, okay? So this is now going to be one going up, one going down. So as they cross over, you get some weird stuff kind of going on. My dogs hate this one, by the way. Okay, so you get the point of it. Just trying to demonstrate this acoustic resonance, kind of a cool thing to demonstrate. But the winner of the contest gets to play a song through here, and it actually looks pretty cool. So be thinking about that while you're working to design the project. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Well, first we're going to say what engineers really do. So if I say, I'd say for your mom to go on an airplane and fly from Los Angeles to Dallas, and the airplane's not going to crash, it's going to take off and land perfectly. What have I done? I've predicted that something good was going to happen, right? I predicted the future. I actually said what was going to happen before it happened. Think about that for a second. We use math and science to design something like a bridge, like an airplane, like a roller coaster that says when you ride on it, you're not going to die, you're not going to get hurt. So we're predicting what's going to happen before it happens. It's actually pretty cool if you think about it, right? But we use math and science to do that. So you guys are the engineers today, and you're going to predict what's going to happen when you make this, make your structure. So let's talk about that. So what you're going to do is you are going to use these bases, and you're going to design, use just paper and tape, a tower or a structure, whatever, to hold a raw egg as high as you can in the air that can survive 10 seconds of this shape. You get credit for only how high the egg is. If your tower is taller than the egg, it doesn't count. It's how high you have the egg in your structure. You cannot tape the egg, okay? You can't tape the egg to the paper. You can make a little cup, you can have a little covering, but it has to be able to open. Like I can take an egg out and put the egg back in, okay? So we're going to break you into groups. You're only going to get 10 minutes to do this, okay? 10 minutes back at these tables. There's 5 groups, and we're going to do it based on your birthday. Okay, so here's where you are. If you were born on, for example, the 12th of whatever month, you're in group 3. Okay, so find your group, and we're going to have you head back to these tables quickly so we can get through the design activity, then we're going to come test it. Okay?
Mr. Dawson causing a distraction with the drone, as students are supposed to be focused on building something without any distractions, like a drone flying overhead. Who will win?
So if you guys figure out, you'll be in 3rd place, okay? Here we go, we're going to count to 10, ready? 1. I expect dancing though, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. We're going to do a fantastic. Go. It's going to be like the road. Hey, just alligator and all you guys have to do is go. Is there any? Yeah, they have the color.
Okay, this is the song they chose for the One Design Challenge. Ready? All right, good job. Have a seat there. So that's kind of what being an engineer is like. Somebody gives you a challenge, and then you try to figure out something, and you test it to see if it works. Then you might redo it, change things, and improve it. But you might use math and science tools to help you make an even taller tower, like that Burj Khalifa, for example, right? Okay? So, but again, what we talked about a second ago, this is all cool and fun, engineering, kind of science stuff, and hopefully you realize that it can be pretty exciting, some fun stuff. But just remember, think about what you guys want to do. and ask people questions. You can do anything you want. So you guys can, you could go to Mars if you wanted. You can do all types of crazy stuff. So, but now's the time to start thinking about it, ask questions, and think about where you're headed in life. So you guys reach for your dreams seriously, because you can do whatever you want. So you got to take a few steps to do it, right? You guys have any questions for us?
Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, talk to me right after. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, hopefully you enjoyed this. We'll put the video back on here as you're going. We're going to hand out. So what we're going to do on your way out, I think you only have like 2 more minutes, you guys are going to file over